Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a game 13 between the Grandmaster Gukesh Tomaraju from India and Ding Liren from China. Now the score is tied with 6 and a 6, and now this is a game 13. Gukesh has white pieces and Ding has a black pieces. So if Gukesh wins today, he has a decisive advantage. You just have to draw the game 14, and if Ding wins today, he just have to draw game 14. And now, so let's see what Gukesh has stores in this skip for this game. He opens with the e4, Ding responds with the e6, that is the French defense. In game 1, Ding defeated Gukesh with the French defense, and another French, Gukesh plays an exchange variation of French defense, which ends up in a draw, which Ding can force for the win, but he didn't do it. Now, so let's see what Gukesh has a store in the French defense against Ding. So the e5, d4 is played, and now d5. Now the knight to c3, whenever variation of French, and now knight to f6, d5, e5, knight to d7, knight to e2, and just simply c5, the principal move in the French defense, as he wanted to target this white advanced pawns, so you can get an equality or advantage. So c3 is played, and now knight to c6 is played, trying to hit this pawn. So this technically. So now a3. This a3 is a very rare in this position. The moves here are knight to f3 or f4. So the Gukesh tries surprise Ding with this a3 move, and Ding here think about 10 to 15 minutes, and he plays bishop to e7, as he doesn't found anything concrete here, so he develops the bishop. So in case of f6, you have two pieces for capturing the pawn. Also, bishop to g5 you can exchange, or if knight tries to come, you have a defense of bishop and queen. So this is a good move. And now just simply bishop to e3, another surprising move by Gukesh. So now knight to b6 is split. Here, if you play f6, then knight to f4 is extremely strong. After king to f7, e takes f6, knight take f6, and now this is a way too much strong. His pawn is weak. You can come here, or it's just way too much for Ding, so he doesn't like this. Okay, let's say after bishop to e3, we can play a5, and after a5 is still knight to f, and Ding didn't like this, so he plays knight to b6, and now he spent 40 minutes for this move. And now, so here knight to f4 is still played by Gukesh, as it is the strongest move in the position, trying to get this knight ready to h5, then attack this pawn, or also this pawn, and also this, or also it can come back here. So Ding captures the center pawn, and now just pawn takes pawn. You have to capture the pawn, because if you don't capture the pawn and you close the position, then you does not have any attacks towards the white king, and you just defending, and you are going to lose eventually. So knight to c5, c4 is played, and now this is a very strong move. This knight is attacking this b2 pawn. Also, it hits the bishop. So either you can capture with the light square bishop. Now if you capture the light square bishop, then you must have some, as his bishop can come here, and it helps in the attack towards the black king. So Gukesh has a think about here 10 to 15 minutes, and he decided to capture, which is the best move of the engine. As for a human's perspective, if you're not in your prep, you simply cannot capture the knight with your strong bishop, as light square bishop in the French defense is one of the main attackers towards the black king. But Gukesh has preparation done. Now here Gukesh plays knight to e2. I'm going to show you queen to g4, as this is also a strong move suggested by the computers, and Peter Leko and Daniel Nardoski is also thinking about this move. But after queen to g4, black has queen to a5 check, and now bishop to d2, queen to b6, queen takes pawn, rook has to come to the f8, and now you have to play knight to e2, pawn take knight takes pawn, and knight takes knight, and bishop to e3. And this is a it doesn't like by Gukesh. Also, those are wondering why we didn't play rook to b1. The reason we didn't play this, because now queen takes queen can take the d4 pawn, and after queen takes a7, and this is very bad for white. Is almost certainly in the losing territory. So Gukesh discarded all these ideas and he plays knight to ge2. And now b5 is played, as you wanted to push b4, a3, a5, and now this also knight is, as you doesn't have anything better. Here the computer is suggesting f6, because after f6, e takes f6, bishop takes pawn, castle, you have to push e5, knight h5, pawn takes pawn, knight takes bishop, queen takes knight, knight takes pawn, castle, knight takes knight, and queen takes knight, queen to d4, and bishop f5. If Ding plus f6, then he got this position, and it is very easy to hold this game. As a opposite color bishop, once the queen rooks are trade off, it is easy to hold this game. But Ding doesn't play f6, so instead he tries b5. So now Gukesh castles simply, and now Ding castles. Here knight to c3, simply a calm move. Now the knight is attacks the pawn. Knight can also come to the e4 square. In future it can maybe sacrifice on f6, also go to the g5, and also come to the g3 and go to the h5. This is a very this French defense in such a position is so deadly that if you does not defend properly, you are going to lose instantly. So Ding has a job to save this position from this Gukesh attacks. So he plays rook to b1, protects the pawn, and now just simply knight to h5. Here it's a very interesting timing, as the normal move here is to king to h8, but after king to h8, you got king to g4, and now rook to g8 has to be played. Rook f to e1, now f5, e takes f6, g takes f6, and queen to e4. This is a very bad for black, as these two pawns are weak. His bishop is protecting this pawn. Once the bishop moves, then his pawn becomes. Also, you cannot connect the rooks when the bishop is here, and this is extremely bad for black. You cannot survive this in a World Championship game where the clock is ticking, and you have only limited amount of period of time. So Ding plays an absolutely beautiful move. That's the f5. Now the queen to g4 cannot come, and the structure will remain intact of the black, and he has a very high drawing chances. So now, after thinking about 20 minutes, Gukesh captures the pawn. As let's say, instead of capturing the pawn, you play d5, then e takes d5, knight takes pawn, bishop to e6, knight to knight h2, knight h5 to knight f4, and just simply bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, queen takes queen, and this is holder for Ding. And so Gukesh choose to so after f5, Gukesh choose to end percent, and now the bishop takes. Now here Gukesh plays queen to f3, hitting the knight. So here there are two moves. Either you can play queen e1 and defend your knight and attacks the white's knight, or you can capture an extra pawn. So Ding plays queen to e8 here, but I'm going to show you what happened after knight takes d4. Now knight takes bishop, rook takes knight, and just simply queen to d1. You have to play e5 here, otherwise you will lose your knight. And now just simply bishop to g5, bishop to f5, rook to e1, and just queen to d1, and just simply takes, and okay. In this position, black has a strong center pawns, but it's a down and exchange, and white only has a knight moves here. This rook cannot move forward, and also this is a very good for black. Okay, it's still a draw, but I think it's very hard for white to play against this. But Ding doesn't like this. Sorry, that's why the Gukesh doesn't play this. No, sorry, Ding does not play this. So he simply play queen to e8, as he was very long time. He has only 40 minutes left, so Ding doesn't have time to go through complications. Now here knight takes bishop, and just simply queen to e2. Ding says he misses the queen to e2. Here After queen to g6, f3 is played as bishop can come to the b7, and after the knight moves, sorry, not here, then it's simply dangerous for this. So he plays f3, preventive move or a precautionary move, and now Ding plays rook to f8 back. Okay, here and or rook to f5 is very interesting. After rook to f5, bishop to f2, bishop to b7, king h1, rook b f8, rook a e1, and knight d8. Now the black position is very strong here, as this bishop is active, rooks are connected, and this pawn is also safe. This pawn is protected by the rook, and Ding doesn't find this, so he plays rook to f8. After rook to f8, rook to d1 is played. Now knight to d7 is played, and now this is a mistake here. Okay, I'm not going to show a mistake, but Gukesh has a serious initiative here, and he plays bishop to f4, which is the most interesting and brilliant in the position. He gets a double exclamation. Now for this one, if you capture the bishop, then queen d4, you lose the game. So you have to play rook to b6. Now bishop to c7 is comes, and now here the engine is suggesting rook to c3, c6, bishop to e5, and rook to b6. As you wanted to protect your knight, as if black bishop take this knight, then you have had a bishop versus good knight, which is very difficult for any game to hold. So instead, Ding plays rook to b7, and now just simply bishop to d6. Now there is a pin on the rook, so he plays rook to e8, and now just simply captures the knight, and rook takes knight. Here queen to d5 is played, a very strong move. Now this pawn is under attack. You can play queen f5 or you can play a6. So let's try plus queen f5. After queen f5, rook to fe1, pawn to a6, queen to g3, rook to d7, rook to e5, queen to f6, and now just simply a4. b4 is, and just simply here you have to must take this, and now just simply takes. This position is an extremely good for white. Black, all the pieces are passive, rooks are disconnected. This bishop doesn't have any squares, and this queen is also doing nothing. So it's so Ding choose a6 here, which is a now d5, and extremely strong move. Here you have to take the pawn, you don't have another option, otherwise this pawn can be a serial passer. So just takes, and now queen takes pawn, check, queen to d6 is played, queen to c5 is played, and now rook to d8 is played, as his bishop is under attack. And after rook to e1, sorry, it's huge pressure. So here rook to e1 is played by the Gukesh. Now there is only one move which is the which maintain equality for Ding Liren, and one move losings. So you have to capture the rook here. If you go bishop to f7, then you're losing. So the correct line, I'm going to show the correct line here. The correct line here is queen takes e1, rook takes queen, and just simply rook takes a rook, king to f2, rook back to the e8, and now just simply knight to e4. You have to find rook to d7. After knight to d6, you have to must find this. You start harassing white king here, and now this is a draw. Ding doesn't see this line. He plays now this is a completely losing move. Only if Gukesh finds a correct continuation here. The correct continuation here is to rook takes rook first, and then knight to e4. Can Gukesh find this? Unfortunately, he didn't find this. Okay, I'm going to show you the line why knight to e4 is bad and why this is strong. Now you have to capture the rook. Now knight to e4 is very strong. The threat is knight to d6, triple fork, and now just simply, okay, you have to play rook d7 here. Knight to d6 still played, and now check. You have to play king to f8 here, and now just simply queen to f5 check, takes queen to e6, and now this is extremely bad for black. Surviving this horror, the rook is going to come into the game. So it's unbelievable. and Ding only has 8 minutes left up to this time, and it's simply extremely difficult to hold this after this lineup. So instead he goes for knight d4. Now Ding has a chance to save this position. Only there is a one move to save the game, and other or everything is loses, and Ding only has 8 minutes on the clock. This is such a tense moment, as this is only move 31. They have to make 9 more moves, and Gukesh can clinch world championship here if Ding plays the wrong move, as he only has to draw the next game. And if Ding finds that move, then he just simply incredible happens by Ding, and such a strong player he is. Okay, I'm going to show you the first all the bad moves in this position, then I'm going to show the correct one, and then I will say whether the Ding plays or not. Okay, let's say you try to attack the queen. Now knight to f6 check is very strong. You have to take with the pawn, takes, and just simply the rook is undefended and you lose the game. Let's say you try queen to d7, and now knight to d6 is still a wrong. Let's say you to defend, you play rook to d6 first. Okay, you have to play something. This is still also losing after takes and just steps. You just simply lose a rook, and here also if you try to exchange this, just simply takes, and now you have to hit the rook with the queen, and just simply queen takes a rook, as if you take with the queen there is a checkmate on the board. So after knight to e4, the only move is to rook e to f8, rook e8 to f8. Can Ding find it? Yes, of course he finds it, and he finds it after the thinking about 4 minutes, and it's such an incredible moment for the viewers, because this is just simply an inhuman move to find such a move in such a critical position where everything is that is just not like that. If one rook to f2 you are safe. No, Ding has to find continuously 8 moves until they move 40 with no increment, and he's only has a 4 minute and 41 seconds on the clock, and Gukesh has a approximately 12 to 13 minutes, 12 to 12:50, and now knight to e6, still the fork is come, but now this is very strong, as this rook is not under fire. And now if you take my queen, I'm going to take yours. So just simply Gukesh plays queen to e5, and now queen to f6, trying to exchange the queens and get a draw. Gukesh says no draw for you. So king to h8 is played, and now just simply rook to the e5 is played, and just simply rook to d7. Now just rook to e1 takes, and just here h6 is played, as you have to create a breathing square for your king. And now just simply queen to c5. The bishop is under attack. Now the bishop to d7 is played. Knight to e4. You are hitting the queen. You have to move your queen, and now just simply you cannot move this queen away from this. As you go here, there are only 2 squares, so Ding choose queen to f4, which is strong, because now you're threatening queen to c1 and winning the pawn. So now rook to d7 is played. Gukesh hits the bishop here. Bishop to c6 is also good, and bishop to f5 is also okay. Okay, if you play bishop to c6 and then queen takes c6, you have to find queen h4. Now you are threatening checkmate and winning the rook. There is only one move which saves the game, that's the knight to f6. Now just simply queen takes knight, so which is very complicated. So Ding choose bishop to f5, and now here, okay, you are as a black very excited. I'm going to eliminate this strong knight and I will get a draw, but no, he plays queen to d4. This is a very tricky move here, as Ding, you are threatening checkmate. So those who are playing OTB chess or in online games, whenever you are waiting to capture your knight or anything and your opponent make the another piece, you must have to feel whether there is a checkmate, whether there is a threat, whether there is a fork, or there is a tactics. Now Ding plays rook to g8. He saves the king from the mate, and now just simply h3 is played, as you have to create your king to squares. Now the queen to c1 is played, king to f2. Now just Ding just limits the strong knight, and just rook takes knight, and now c3. Here the position is a draw, but white has a serious chances here. Let's say black plays queen to b1, white can go yes. Here is a threat, as let's say you play another stupid move, and now here the threat is checkmate after queen to e6. So You have to play extremely carefully here. So after this, Ding plays an absolutely brilliant move, that is the c3. And now if Gukesh takes with the queen, then you queen takes queen, pawn takes queen, rook to c8, rook to e6, a5, rook to e3, rook to c4, king to e2, rook to a4, and just simply rook to e5, and just some pawn takes, and this is a draw. The 3 versus 2 is a draw. So Gukesh does not want to draw here, as he has a winning chances and he missed this. And tomorrow he has a black pieces, so he wanted to test the Ding, and he wanted to, I think maybe strategy, as there is an extremely high game. Ding is defending very well, and you are going to crack sometime as the Ding cracking one game. So Gukesh is trying everything to make a Ding mistakes. But Ding is playing such an excellent, it's an amazing part. So he plays the queen to 8, queen takes. Now it's still a draw, but there are some tactics different. So king to g3 is played to prevent any of the checks. Now just simply queen to b3, as I'm going to show earlier. After rook to e6, there is a mate threat. So Ding just stop it, and now rook to d7 is played. Again in capturing this here, white has everything. The king is active on majority. This king is hitting the pawn. This is a very deadly, and now this king is also inactive. So he has everything in the position. So Gukesh is trying. Now a5 is played, and after a5 there is a rook to b7, and now just simply queen to c4, another offer to queen exchange. But Gukesh is simply not interested. He plays queen to a5. Now here the Ding plays queen to c6. Now white is forced to take this pawn. If white moves the rook, then these pawns are simply moving forward. So you have to take this pawn, otherwise you may end up losing the game. So he takes with the queen, and now Ding takes the pawn, and now just this pawn is protected, attacking the pawn, and just simply check, taking the king to the laser square. Now just simply queen to b4 is played. Gukesh exchange takes, and now just simply a master. Okay, now this is a 3 versus 2, and it's very interesting. Those who are new to the chess, or you get this position in online event or in OTB event, and then what we do as amateur players, we push this pawn forwards, then our opponent moves the pawn forward, and you just exchange any of these pawns here, and we get winning chances to our opponent. So here you just have to observe how Ding plays the position and how he defends it, so you can utilize it in your own games. So now king to g3 is played, trying to improve the king to h7. Okay, rook to the b5 to stopping h5. King to g6 is played, and just simply f4, trying to get king here, and you wanted to push this pawn. So king to the f6 is played here. Okay, Ding is just sweating here. Ding knows that this position is a draw. If I move my pawn forward, then my opponent have a serious chances to win this game. All I have to just to sit, wait, and relax, and just defend. So here Ding is playing all the waiting moves. Now g3 is played. Now the Ding gives the check, and just simply king to the g4. Okay, this is also a draw, and now rook to a3 is played, and now a4 is played here. Now just simply another waiting move, and now just check. Just now king to f7, simply holding the fortress, and now f5 is played. Now you must have to give the check to your opponent here. Sorry, no check here. Ding plays an absolute move, which game instant draw. He plays h5, as you cannot take this pawn. If you take this pawn, then there is a rook to g3, and this is just a draw. All you have to do is to put your rook on the g square. Yes, you must not allow the white king to enter in the game, and white rook can give you check, but you have to just move backward and forward. That's it. So instead, after king to f4 is played, and now so Gukesh doesn't capture, as he does not want to draw, and now he just check, and now just there is a simply a threefold repetition takes place, and the game ends in a draw. Here if you play king to g2, then there is a rook to c5, as You cannot just save the pawn. Then is a 2 versus 2 is also a draw. So that's it, guys. The game 13 is very interesting. Gukesh tries everything. He got a winning position in some part of the game, but he misses it. Now tomorrow Ding has white pieces, so it's very interesting to see what Ding's approach. Whether he wanted to get an early draw and go into the rapid tiebreaks, where there are 4 games. So you also, if you lose a game, you have 3 games to come back. Or Ding try to maximize his white pieces. Does Gukesh does so, or maybe it's very interesting tomorrow. Or Gukesh or tries to get a draw, or he will push for a win with the black pieces. This is very interesting moment at the championship now, as it is the final stage of the game. So let's see, we will meet tomorrow with the analysis of game 14. Thank you, guys.